Oh, what's up? Friday night. It means it's well past midnight some places. Mr. Midnight is here. Wheelie. I bet John's crying into cereal over the Niners losing to Staley. Oh, tough hell. Tough hell. What was the final score of this game? Game's not over if you're watching this after the fact. Here before the game concludes. But let's get after it. A podcast with John, the immediate trade reaction is down in the description. You can get that on the podcast feed, the Haberman and Middlekoff podcast feed. And it's good to see everybody who's here live, including Jay Mill, 1241 in DC. What's up? Nasser asked, should have asked Dallas for a kicker, right? Problem is Dallas has one kicker, and even he's kind of Brett Maher on edge. We'll talk about this game, but what a bizarre day. What a wild day. I mean, I don't think anybody was shocked that Trey Lance didn't play in this game, even though Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch said, "Oh, we think he's going to play." I didn't expect him to play. I don't even think after what happened the other day, anybody's too shocked that he got traded, but that he got traded to the Cowboys for a 4th-round pick. And then after earlier in the day, the report being that Jake Moody was hurt, the Niners' 3rd-round pick kicker, I thought suspicious circumstances. I thought maybe a fake injury to get him to IR and keep Zane Gonzalez around. Then you turn on the Niner preseason game, and the first extra point is horrendous because it's Mitch Wisnowski out of good hold by Kyle Juszczyk. Snap wasn't ideal, I don't think. I'm no special teams. I'm no Hightower, but snap looked a little kind of up, and he put it down. Maybe that threw off the timing a little, but just a bizarre day. Just a bizarre. God, what a weird. I mean, Jake Moody's injury. We are. I'm talking as this Charger Niner game is wrapping up. Kyle Shanahan's going to have to talk after the game about a lot of things. At the top of the list are going to be the trade, obviously, as it relates to this team. Jake Moody's injury and Zane Gonzalez's injury, for that matter, and then roster cutdowns. We can talk about some of the roster construction. If you guys have any questions about what I think is going to happen after going to all those training camp practices, I think people have a pretty good sense of how this thing's going to play out. But we can talk more about Trey a little bit too. John Lynch spoke during the broadcast, and he looked sullen. He looked sad. He looked worn out. He looked, it's the part of the job that Bob Myers had to deal with a lot. Like, this is what the money's for. You got to be out there and explaining tough things. I think also it's just, for him, they moved on. They, as a franchise, have Brock Purdy, who looked good again tonight. I mean, I think Brock's been pretty impressive in this preseason for whatever stock you put in preseason games or however much stock you can put in preseason games. He's looked good, but still, you don't love having drafted a guy and then that high and then trading him, 2.5 years later. So it's just, I think there's a lot. I think he probably did like Trey personally. He didn't like the way this thing played out. It got a little out of their control. I don't know, the timing of Darnold being named QB2 the other day felt weird. I don't know if they intended it to go that way, but then once Trey wasn't going to be there, they kind of forced their hand. I think it got away from them a little bit the last few days. And like I said, and then on top of that, that's just what I'm thinking about when I'm watching John Lynch do that interview today on TV. And then on top of that, you're like, just not a great reflection. It was bad. It was bad. It was one of the biggest moments when they made the trade in their tenure. They've had some big moments on the field, thankfully for them. It's why they're not on the hot seat right now. But, that was one of their big highs. And they talked it up and they believed in it. And then the Trey Lance era was over. So I understood him. I didn't quite know what kind of Lynch you would get, but I mean, it makes sense that's what it would be. So, man, Um, we can I'll try and keep track of I'm good, dog. Friday night. College football hasn't even started yet. College football starts tomorrow. But it's a light day, week 0. SC doesn't play till 5. Navy Notre Dame plays. Ohio plays San Diego State. I'm going to be watching some college football on Saturday, but my college football work doesn't start till week 1, and so I'm enjoying this. This is my last casual Saturday of the fall coming up tomorrow. So this is a big. I don't want to go to sleep. I want to maximize. I want to maximize my Saturday. All right, let's get to some stuff from the game, and then we can go. Not too much stuff, but just a few things of note. I mean, some roster stuff today. Um, Sam Darnold played a healthy amount today. Brock Purdy, had some really nice moments. I thought the problem with this game partly was the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers ran their twos out there. The Chargers were and their threes and their fours, and at times it looked like they're fives. They're going to win this game handily with not an impressive roster. So you take everything with a grain of salt. I don't know if John made this point earlier. I thought it was a good point. Like, if you're Shanahan and you're getting ready for the Steelers, and the Steelers play their guys and you play your guys, you would have loved for the other team to have played their guys. But Chargers, I give the Niners a similar defensive look, ran the ball down their throat. But when Brock Purdy was out there with that number one offense, minus a couple of guys, they look good. I thought the Brock Purdy led offense shoved the ball down the Chargers' throat, and that was impressive. So J.P. Mason ran the ball well. Drake Jackson had a couple nice plays. Fred Warner had a nice sack and celebrated with the Bosa, but the kicking thing is alarming. The kicking situation is very alarming. And if you're Robbie Gould, and I've seen a lot of people in the chat say it, if you're Robbie Gould, do you go by your phone tonight? Do you keep the phone near you? Or do you let it sit across the room and ignore it and make them call a few times? The Niners did clear up a little cap space today with that old trade. So I guess they gave themselves a little more flexibility with a potential kicker ad, but that's bad. I mean, that's bad. A quad and a calf for their kickers. I knew something was up the other day, Tuesday, when I was out at practice, and Zane Gonzalez was in sneakers, and the wind was blowing hard left to right of the practice field, which it normally doesn't. It normally blows from behind, and Jake Moody didn't kick. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I assumed he kicked in the stadium that day. But maybe that was the day he got hurt. I don't know. We'll find out from Shanahan postgame. When was it that he got hurt? So they got to figure that out. That's scary. I mean, to think that you had a kicker you drafted, a safety net kicker in Zane, and you still might be calling Robbie. I mean, they're going to have 2 kickers on IR to start this year. I know it's a little day to day, but ironic that we signed Javon Hargrave, says Glass City, during a year when the rush D is not going to be good. He'll never be able to rush the passer. They need Bosa. They need Armstead. Javon Kinlaw. Javon Kinlaw had a big push on the Fred Warner sack, but he and Kevin Givens got double teamed and blown away on that. Josh Kelly, the Chargers running back, had a big run for a touchdown, and those two guys got demolished. And then Jalen Graham, one of the rookie linebackers who's going to make the team, and Curtis Robinson ended up in the same place. And it was the wrong place, and it was over. So, yeah, I mean, their run defense, I'd say, is on the list of when you watch the Steelers play and you watch them punch people in the mouth, their ability to cover the tight ends, like, that's going to be high on the list too for that game. So Mason fumbling in the end zone. Mitchell McCaffrey's your guy. Mason's ahead of Ty Davis Price. You don't love him fumbling on the precipice of the goal line. Nate, you and Mids have been spot on. You should give yourselves a huge pat on the back. Well, thanks, Nate. I mean, if you've been watching, there's been a lot of back patting going on. I don't think we need the invitation, but thank you. Appreciate that. Special teams is trash, says Carlo. The kicking game. Wishnowski got his mojo back a little as a punter today, which is good. And Ronnie Bell looks comfortable as a returner. So it was good. Randall, nice throws from Sam D. Ghost in the end zone to the defensive back. Almost a pick six. Want to hear about that, I'm sure. You know, there's this misconception that I have like faith in Sam Darnold. Somebody said that to me on Twitter today. Like, why do you have so much faith in Sam Darnold? And I said, I don't have faith in Sam Darnold. I'm intrigued by Sam Darnold. If you're not intrigued by Sam Darnold, you don't want to see it. You're refusing to see it. It doesn't mean that Sam Darnold is going to resurrect his career. His career at this point as a pro has not been good. But his time as a 49er has been promising. He has improved. I criticized him about 3 weeks, maybe a month ago, when I said after a practice, I came back and said here on the show that Sam Darnold's only checking it down. And I joked that he's only checking it down because he knows that is the way to Kyle's heart. I've been saying for a few weeks now that Darnold has improved. He improved since the beginning of training camp. I did not think Trey looked better at the end of training camp than he looked at the beginning of training camp. If you saw the video I did with Dickinson and Larry Krueger on live the other day from Levi's, you know that they both said they thought it was about even between Darnold and Lance during practice. And I told them that I respectfully but vehemently disagree. I don't think it's been even. Doesn't mean Darnold doesn't make bad throws. Of course he does. But Darnold's got a lot of questions to answer, and he can't fully answer them until he plays consistently in games, which he has not done yet. And I don't know if he'll get to do this year because Brock Purdy, a good player. But Sam Darnold, in now 3 preseason games, has made throws consistently that Niners quarterbacks have not consistently made. Go balls down the sideline. I don't know that Trey Lance hit one of those in a practice. The criticism that Darnold checks it down. Well, first of all, I mean, that's, make the easy throws easy. That's part of the offense. It's why he outgraded Trey a lot, is because Trey didn't make the easy throws. Not that he never did it. Of course he did it, but he missed them sometimes on throws that, were 98 and 100%. Like, you got to hit those throws. So checkdowns are okay, but he also consistently has made excellent throws. He made several excellent throws in this game. If you don't want to see it, you don't want to see it. Saying he makes excellent throws doesn't mean you like him to be a future star or to resurrect his career. It just means he made really good throws, and he's made a lot of them. And he's made more excellent throws in practice, actually, than the other 2 guys. And so when people say like, oh, well, Sam's only checking it down. I went to every training camp practice. He wasn't checking it down by the end any more than Lance was. Lance wasn't forcing the ball down the field more than Darnold was. He was doing fine. Nobody was forcing the ball. But Darnold was making plays beyond the 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And he did it again today. That's the part that, like, I get it if you didn't go to training camp and you didn't get to see it. I'm appreciative of the access. And you can trust what I'm telling you or not. It's up to you. But the games have been available now, 3 straight games. And he's made a lot of really good throws in those games. And today was another example of, I think, him being intriguing. That's all. Intriguing. Guy is a Darnold stan. Must be. Purdy always moves the offense. He does. In fact, he's looked like he hasn't missed a beat. I mean, we've spent so much time talking about the backup quarterback with this team, I can't imagine that on many contenders there's been more ink spilled on backup quarterback than there has been with the 2023 San Francisco 49ers. Now, part of it was that Brock was hurt. I mean, Brock at the beginning of training camp was not allowed to practice as much as everybody else. So that's part of it. Like, is somebody else going to have to start week one? So it didn't come out of complete nowhere. But, I'm happy to talk about Darnold all day. I said this last week after the game, and I'll say it again today. The reason I'm comfortable talking about Darnold all day is because he looks different, and I'm intrigued. So his regular career to this point, or his career to this point, has not been good. It's undeniable. I'm intrigued in the same way. Here's what's going to happen. In Dallas, guess what? They're going to be intrigued with Trey Lance. They just got him for a 4th-round pick today. There's no pressure for him to come in and be the starting quarterback or to win the job or to live up to the hype or any of that. They traded a 4th-round pick for him. It just so happens he went to the Dallas Cowboys, where unfortunately nothing is pressure-free. But he's under contract this year and next year, and a 5th-year option if they wanted, I guess, for the year after that. And, if they see anything promising this year, Cooper Rush will be on his way out, and they'll try to develop Trey Lance behind Dak Prescott. And he'll make good throws in practice. And maybe if he runs scout team, there'll be some stories about how, he was Eagles game. He got him ready. He got him ready for the Eagles and, really helped out. And, they'll be intrigued. But the games, we'll see. I mean, if Sam doesn't play in the games, we'll never know, I guess, here. And if he plays in the games, then we'll find out. And the odds are stacked against Sam Darnold. The odds that Sam Darnold turns into a starting NFL quarterback are less than 50-50. The odds that Sam Darnold is a starting NFL quarterback for the next 5 years are less than 50-50. Why? Because that's just all their odds. Hell, the odds are probably less than 30% he does and 70% he doesn't. The odds are stacked against all of them. Most quarterback competitions are between 2 or 3 guys who none of them go on to become the franchise quarterback. So the odds are stacked against Sam. The odds are not in his favor. It is far more likely than not that Sam Darnold's just not an NFL starter. But they got Brock Purdy. So right now, who cares? I mean, I'm excited about it because it was the preseason and training camp, and we got to watch a bunch of throws. So what's of note? What is interesting? That was interesting. There was a competition. Well, there's no competition anymore. Brock Purdy's healthy. The preseason's over, and they're going to Pittsburgh in 2 weeks. And that's going to be a tough-ass game. And this team, under this coach, keeps trying to break through. And they've got a star defensive end who's not signed. They got Rap Sheet today saying there's not even that much communication. And saying, well, if anybody's going to miss a game, it might be Nick Bosa. They got 2 kickers who can't get on the field. So they got bigger fish to fry than, is Trey Lance going to be the Cowboys quarterback in 2 years and make them look bad? Or is Sam Darnold ready to play if Brock Purdy gets hurt? Their main priority is protecting Brock Purdy, so none of us ever find out the answer to that question. I mean, that's the key for them. Jose just left the game. Everybody in the stands was talking about Trey. How could they not be? I mean, it's insane. It is. There was a tweet today from Field Yates. Let me find this real quick. Here we go. I'll even show it to you too. I meant to have this ready. Check this out. Bum, 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 bum. You get it to you fast enough. Okay, here we go. Trey Lance played a total of 8 games with the 49ers. That is the fewest games played by a top 5 pick with the team he debuted with since the start of the Common Draft era in 1967. Now, as you know, there have been a lot of top 5 picks who have not gone on to pan out. There have been a lot of top 5 picks who were far worse players, I think, than Trey Lance. And that is a special kind of example of the circumstances right there. That's wild. By the way, we're brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka, if you're having one tonight, if you're headed out tomorrow, having people over to the house, have some Tito's on hand. It is always a staple of your home bar. And it's always a staple of sidling up to the bar. You know, you get up to the bar, you're not quite sure. You don't want to start with like the drink with all the stuff in it. You like Tito's and soda. Make it 2. Tito's and ginger beer. Breed's my personal favorite. Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly. People just mad they bought a $100 Trey Lance jersey they can't return now. There's not some Fanatics doesn't Fanatics let you do a exchange? The problem with Fanatics is they've got they're the only major company in America that takes 2.5 weeks to ship you anything. Not sponsored by Reed's, but it's very good. So, Dr. Guy, why did this happen? Trey was bad, but he wasn't that bad. Was it just the crazy Trey fans that made them trade him? Bad locker room dynamics? I hope that I hope that I'll start a couple posts here. I hope that more details come out. I think happened for a few reasons. I think they were okay trading him the whole time. They knew this was a possibility. Diana Rossini said they've been trying to do it for a long time. In the end, it was going to save them money on their number 3 quarterback, who has the 5th highest cap hit on the team. So when you just think of it in those terms, you're going to save money when you're up against the cap, when you still have guys to sign. And you never know. I mean, you've shown in years past you are willing to do deals during the season, right? Emmanuel Sanders, Christian McCaffrey, that kind of thing. So you may need a kicker at some point. So opening up a little cap space has a real immediate positive impact. On top of that, we're talking about the 3rd string quarterback. Now, you know what I've said? I would have kept him. I would have kept him over Brandon Allen. Maybe he didn't want to be kept, though, at a certain point. And, you had reasons to trade him. Then he gave you more reasons to trade him and made it easy. I agree. He was good enough to keep around, and I would have kept trying. Like, hey, man, we can work this out, develop you a little more. But, I mean, if you were to play, if you wanted to counter that, you'd say, why would he believe you were going to develop him? It's a fair point. Couple here. Let's see. Fanatics is a scam. Brandon, explain that. Tito's and Niners. The man with no name. I give up 10 years of sobriety to support this pod. Well, you don't have to do that. There's other ways to do it. We appreciate that, though. Thank you. I don't appreciate that. Don't do that. I will say this is not a sponsor, but Melon, these guys, they're not paying for this, but I have a bunch of their hats. John has a bunch of their hats. We have a good relation. We have a relationship. Just we've been back and forth over the years with the company. They've advertised before. They're hats are more expensive probably than other hats that you might have, but I've washed this hat several times. It is my go-to. I love it. And right now they're donating a portion of their proceeds to some Maui relief fund. So I just told the guys there that our guy Aaron over there, the company, hey, we'll mention it. So if you're thinking about a hat and you want to go check out a Melon hat, go check it out. I don't know that any team has been through what this organization has been through and not come out of it 4-12 and missed as many picks. I said earlier on the previous stream, I need to amend it. But here's the correct history. Last 9 years, they've made 10 first-round picks. Last 2 years, they haven't had a first-round pick, obviously, because of the trade. But there's been other years where they had multiple first-round picks, right? Like the Kinlaw Ayuk year. But anyway, last 9 years, they made 10 picks in the first round. Of those 10 guys picked, 4 of them are still on the. Well, 3 of them were in uniform tonight, or on the sideline tonight. Last 10 guys picked, 3 of them were in uniform tonight. 1 of them, Bosa, holding out. 6 of them are gone. You know, Buckner, Joshua Garnett, Reuben Foster, Trey Lance, Mike McGlinchey. That's a low hit rate in the first round, because you'd say, yeah, 4 of them are here, but only like 3 of them were hits. Kinlaw was not a hit. Was McGlinchey a hit? I mean, he started for you for 5 years, so I'd say yeah. Although when you draft a first rounder, you hope he's going to stay around more than that, but yeah, ish. Pharrell on the stream says, Nick Zakel got to go. You want to see something funny? Oh, this is the wrong one. Where's my board from the other day? Anyway, I was at Niner practice the other day watching offensive line, defensive line drills, and the one thing I wrote in my note there was, ain't the guy. Ain't the guy. What was the point of drafting him? Trying, failing miserably in terms of value, somehow surviving otherwise. So that's, I guess, the miracle of it. But hold on, I'm going to listen to this answer from Kyle Shanahan real quick. Shanahan says he told Trey they wanted to keep him here as the 3. Trey said he wanted to go. So, this is an interesting piece of insight from Shanahan. He says that there were a number of teams involved, which actually makes sense when you see what they got. I mean, they got a 4th round pick. We were talking about the other day, and I thought they were not getting I thought they were going to have to attach a pick to him. Kyle Shanahan saying it was not irreparable with Trey and that they weren't going to cut him. Said he had a good conversation with him today. So anyway, the Bills were in play. Who said that? Did somebody report that the Bills were in play? That actually makes some sense. Pittsburgh. What is the Bills' QB depth chart? I don't think it's good. Kyle Allen. Oh, yeah. We watched him the other day. Matt Barkley. Bills in play would have been interesting, actually. Bills in play would have been kind of perfect for him, for Trey. Because, well, yeah, he would have been able to be the backup there eventually. I mean, Kyle Allen's new to that team, but he's a 5-year pro. Yeah. I mean, once they got a 4th for him, you knew actually people had been interested. Bills offered a 6th. Kid Icarus, Bosa not signing and Trey situation are big distractions. Did you see what Fred Warner did today? I know a lot of you saw it. If you watched the game, Fred Warner got a sack and then did the Bosa celebration. He knows Nick Bosa can help him. He knows he needs Nick Bosa to help this team, right? That's significant. And when we talked about it earlier, I think part of the conversation was just he's gone from the team, he's gone from the locker room, but he wasn't a captain. He's not gone from the impact list of players. It is a bad moment in 49ers drafting history for sure. But as long as they keep winning, they're okay. One thing I was thinking about, Shanahan said it was emotional. Yeah, I believe that. Like, I think they would have kept him around. If he had said, like, I'll be the 3rd quarterback, I'll do whatever you guys need. Brandon Murray says this D-line is nothing without Bosa. The depth is overrated. Brandon, Well, I agree. Is anybody rating this depth? I said this a couple of weeks ago. Well, at the beginning of training camp, that I thought it was going to be a little better than it was. They are not deep. You're right. Right now, it is Armstead, Hargrave, Drake Jackson, Cleveland Furl, Kevin Givens, Javon Kinlaw, Robert Beal, Kerry Hyder, T.Y. McGill, Nick Bosa. I mean, behind Bosa, Armstead, Hargrave, Robert Beal's unproven. Maybe Drake Jackson's about to. I mean, Drake Jackson made some plays today against who, but made some plays today. Kinlaw, Givens, Furl. I mean, I agree. Now, do I think Bosa's going to be there? Yeah. I looked today. So the highest paid, and we've talked about this, but the highest paid defensive player is Joey. $102 million basically guaranteed in Joey's deal. Joey signed that deal on July 28th, 2020, which was exactly 14 days, exactly 2 weeks after Myles Garrett signed his contract, which at the time made him the highest paid defensive player in the NFL. Myles Garrett's contract was for $100 million. Joey's for $102. 2 years after that, in June of 2022, Aaron Donald signed a 4-year contract. Those two guys were signing 5-year contracts. Aaron Donald signed a 4-year contract for $95 million. So almost as much. So that average is, I'm guessing, what Nick wants to top, but Nick doesn't want to top it for hold on, that's only 24 million. Yeah, forget that. Nick doesn't want to top that for 4 years. He wants to top for 5 years, right? Sorry. So Bosa sees that Joey got 102 million 3 years ago, and it was only 2 million more than Myles Garrett at the time. You figure he's got to want at least 246. I think 120 guaranteed. Like that deal was done 2 years ago. You can't come in and go, well, the last deal was 102. Let's make you 105. Maybe he wants 140. I mean, he wants so much more than Joey. Not because it's Joey, but he wants so much more than Joey. So did you guys hear what Rap Sheet said today? I mean, the conversation isn't very active. Bosa knows what he values himself at. And until the Niners get there, I'm not sure how much discussion there'll be. As a family, as principled as they are, if it's possible for anyone to miss the game, I could see it. Now, look, I don't think he's gonna. So the point of the negotiation is he has to hold out long enough until they think he is gonna. Right? It's easy right now. Nah, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Well, that means it's not effective yet. That means it's not effective. When does it get effective? As it gets closer. So, I'd predicted this week. You don't start sweating until you start getting close. And the Bosas are going to make them sweat. I think they're already mad. I think they're already frustrated with it. We know that John Lynch said, 3 weeks out, that's when you should be here. We already know that. So I think they're already frustrated with it. And I think the Bosas are chilling. Now, do I think Nick is driving it the way Rap Sheet? It was weird. The way Rap Sheet said it was like Nick is driving it, which would be a little surprising, right? That it's not his dad and the agent or his family and the agent. But, it's as simple as, if you think that you're not worried about Bosa, then Bosa hears that and goes, I guess I should wait longer. I mean, I'm with you. I think he's signing to one that's not going to be an issue. But he has to wait till you think he might not sign and it is an issue for there to be leverage. They need him. They need him. I wonder, Robbie, I wonder if the Niners already offered the monster contract and Bosa just waiting to see what the Chiefs do with Chris Jones. Well, yeah, that's when I said what I said about Myles Garrett and Joey Bosa, Joey waiting for Chris Jones or Joey waiting for Myles Garrett. That's what I'm talking about, right? Is he going to wait for Chris Jones? Chris Jones is not going to reset the market, not like Nick is going to. TJ weighs in. The first time I saw Trey won the ball, I feel like I was watching Stanley on The Office dribble the basketball for the first time. Immediately looked so unathletic. I was shocked. So that episode is amazing, by the way, when they go play in the warehouse. I was surprised that Trey looked uncomfortable running the football. So unathletic. I think he's pretty athletic. I think he's more than athletic enough. I don't think he is the runner that the guys that you consider dynamic runners are, right? Josh Allen's explosive, dynamic. Anthony Richardson, explosive. Lamar, explosive. Fields, explosive. I would say, Hurts is really comfortable, dynamic, not quite as explosive, kind of really just good movement skills, good feel. Kind of, Wilson had such good feel. Trey was, he was not the runner I thought he was going to be. Part of it was, I don't think he was comfortable. Like, I think Trey he wasn't going to get more athletic and become an elite NFL athlete, like relative to those guys, but he was going to become, I think, a better runner because I think he was just going to get more comfortable. I thought he was pretty uncomfortable. And I think that will, if he plays, improve. I think he's still going to have an athletic, it is what it is. But if you told me Trey Lance plays 17 games somewhere and they have some design run plays, I think he would get smoother and he'd be more comfortable. I think that would happen. So I don't think he's unathletic. But I don't think he's as natural a runner as like Fields is or Josh Allen or, those guys that are really, really comfortable doing it. Ed says, is Robbie Gould this year's Jimmy G? Yeah, maybe. I like that. Just be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone. Back. Critical. I mean, it depends. Like, if the Moody injury was an injury and not an injury, then is he just going to, tomorrow we said he was day to day. Looks like this is the day he's healthy. I don't know. Yeah, I'm watching Kyle right now. He looks, we got this whole thing with Trey and Trey Lance and Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy and Trey Lance last year and Jimmy Garoppolo, and are they being fair to him and all of that? Like, I do think Kyle Shanahan grew up with a dad for an NFL coach. Kyle Shanahan spent all of his life in locker rooms. All Kyle Shanahan wanted to be was a football player. And then he became a coach. I think Kyle can be really hard on players. Like, I think for Jimmy, I think for quarterbacks in particular, it can be difficult. But I think he respects what players go through based on all of his experience being around players, playing catch with players as an 8-year-old. I mean, if you have that type of experience, when you are around guys that you admire when you're a kid, I think that stays with you. And, just watching them, like, it didn't work out. They bear a lot of the burden. They bear burden for the development speed, for the situation, for misjudging the situation, for thinking we can develop him here when we can't. Maybe they bear a burden on the evaluation. Maybe they were wrong about that. Um, but I think for him, just to see a guy. Now Trey got rich, okay, but this was not an easy situation for him. And I think as a guy that respects the guys that are the men truly in the arena, I think that was probably not easy for Shanahan. And I'm just watching him talk like I think he understands that Trey Lance is in this situation because they drafted him third. Now maybe somebody else was going to draft him fourth, but when they drafted Trey Lance, they told the world we believe in this guy, and they told him we believe in you, and they told his parents we're going to take care of your boy, man. We can't wait, Mr. and Mrs. Lance. This is going to be a beautiful thing. We're going to be together for the next 16 years. We're going to do great things together. And they told him all that stuff. And, you never know with a rookie, like, you believe in him, you believe in the pick. How much do you really believe? How much do they really believe? I don't know. But he knows the situation. He's got to know the situation got pretty screwy. Some of their fault, some not. The injury is a factor. But the situation got screwy. And Trey Lance, the human being who he spent time with all the time, he's the one that bears the brunt of it. Like when people say, oh, you got to hold these guys accountable. You got to hold Kyle and John Lynch accountable. And I said the other day, accountability is wins and losses. They win games. That's enough. They lose games. They get held accountable, but they get held accountable for the losing, not for the bad drafting. So they draft Trey third. It fails. They move on. As long as they keep winning, no biggie. But for Trey Lance, this is his career. And, he just got traded for a fourth. So maybe his career's not quite on life support yet. John Lynch said it, and I said it the other day too. Like a lot of the story, or maybe Middlekauff said it, somebody said it, is still unwritten. Natasha Bedingfield. The rest is still unwritten. So I'm not writing it off too soon. Long way to go, hopefully for him. But, when you draft a guy that high and you give him all the confidence that you believe in him and you're going to teach him and you're going to guide him and you're going to be together, and then it fails. And, when it fails, you get to move on. He is still the guy with the career that he's got to try and resurrect. And I'm just looking at Kyle. I think he feels that a little bit. I think he's got to feel that a little bit. That's right. I don't think we have the license to that. Although I don't know if you need I think we can just play any music we want now. And as long on YouTube as we check the little box that says, they can monetize, then they can monetize. Imagine if San Francisco kept the picks, took Micah Parsons. Oh, I've imagined it. Just asked if Robbie is an option. He said everyone is a possibility. All right, then. Who cares what they said? It's pro ball. He's got millions. It's true. Yeah, I mean, yes, of course. But Kyle Shanahan's just a human being up there talking about another human being. Like, I'm not saying I'm not saying he's a victim, not a victim, but you see somebody go through something. What Trey Lance wanted was a great NFL career. He doesn't have that right now. You feel a little responsible. You were his coach. It's partly your job. Not partly. It's your job to get him there. And he didn't. He failed in that job. Now, luckily for him and the franchise, he's succeeded in a lot of other jobs. But in that job, they failed. That's all. Probably easier to have that conversation Take snaps in preseason game. Rogue Black says, I think we can all agree. We hope Brandon Allen never sees the field. We do agree on that. Moving on. Mistake was made. Still a damn good team. Yep. Sluma 56. Hey, guy. Was Sam's performance today Steve Young like? Blueface smiling. Kyle has a weird obsession with below average quarterbacks. Long way from being Steve Young. But I've disagreed with a lot of people today. I thought today was a good day for Sam Darnold. He made several good throws. So I thought it was a good day for Sam. If you're saying you don't think it was a positive day for Darnold, then we disagree. If you were saying today didn't prove that he was a franchise quarterback, we agree. We agree. Yeah, I'm going to go Whew. All right. That's that. Oh, roster stuff. Roster cut down will be Tuesday. We can do some roster stuff then. But I think it's pretty settled. I mean, Ambry, Mooney Ward, George Odom, Hufunga, Brown, Gibson, Womack, Lenore, Oliver. The linebackers, I guess you'll try to get them to practice squad. Jalen Graham, D. Winters are going to make the 53. Greenlaw, Warner, Oren Burks. I went through the D-line earlier. Debo, Ayuk, Jennings, McLeod, Ronnie Bell. Put Danny Gray on it, then move him to IR. Ilm Manning's going to make the 53. 4 running backs plus Juice. I think, the interesting one of the interesting ones is going to be tight end. What do you do? Kittle and Charlie Warner, K. Cameron Latou? Ross Dwelly? Latou started catching balls at the exact right time because his job is on the line. I don't know. Yeah, they got a lot of offensive linemen they could cycle out right now, and they'd probably be in good shape. You can't go all in on a player and have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Yeah, agreed. Well, I'll say it even more specifically. You cannot go all in on a young quarterback and try to win a Super Bowl at the same time, with probably very extreme exceptions. I think any team that's ever done that has done it by accident. And I don't quite know, like last year, all in on Brock and trying to win a championship. I mean, those were just the circumstances. But you don't draft a guy top 3. Say, we're going all in on developing him and simultaneously go all in on winning a championship. Those two things are just, they don't go together. They can't be done. You have to let somebody make mistakes. You have to let a young quarterback throw picks and have bad reads and freak out and come back tomorrow and come back tomorrow and come back tomorrow. You got to do it. That's the biggest lesson I took away from the experience. And John and I have talked about this going back a couple of years now. The lesson was clear. I thought it was the perfect situation for Trey. I thought you get him around. Look at this, Debo and Ayuk. So good. Perfect. He doesn't have to do much. Well, if he had been a different pick, if he had been Trevor Lawrence or a guy more ready to play right away, then you could have got away with it. And even then, are you all in on Super Bowl contention? Trevor Lawrence as a rookie? I mean, it was clearly promising. But even then, with one of the best prospects ever, you all in on a championship, meaning we will do whatever it takes. We will bench whoever we got to bench to try and win a title. So yeah, I agree. That's the lesson from today. Can we please talk about your hair products? Need guidance. Yeah, I tweeted this. Somebody asked me about this the other day, and I put a couple of pictures out. By the way, thanks to my guy Laz, my barber, who tore a muscle in his foot playing pickup basketball 4 weeks ago. He's not been able to stand until this week. Cut my hair hurt today because I'd been almost 6 weeks without a cut, which for me is extreme. Now that we're into football season, and you think I'm kidding, I'm not. But now that we're into football season, I get a haircut every day. That I'm kidding. Now that we're in the football season, I get a haircut every week. I get a weekly haircut. Laz and I have an arrangement. We have a contract. 4 years unlimited haircuts. I bought that up front from him. I'm halfway through year 3 of my unlimited haircut. So I'm gonna go see him again. I saw him today for the first time in 6 weeks. Anyway, products. Start with a pomade. Okay, the pomade is going to be the main. You're using a lot of pomade. You're getting it in there. The pomade that I use is I'm not prepared for this, so it's going to take me a second here. Axe pomade. It's the Axe pomade, and it's the classic Axe pomade. Okay, it's that. That's the base. It's cheap. You can get it at Target. No biggie. All right. So you're going to put that in, but it's going to have a little too much shine. See, I got some shine. It's going to have a little too much shine, and it's not going to have enough hold. So then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the Kevin Murphy Rough Rider. All right. And that is what you're going to finish it with. And you're going to have to, you get it at Amazon cheap. You go to a boutique. They got different sizes. They got little ones. They got big ones. That's going to give you a little more hold. And that's going to add a little bit of a matte to it, but it's not going to make it hard that you can't put your fingers through it. All right. So that's the combo there. There you go. Happy to answer that question at any time. Love talking about it. Yeah. Take a swing. Got to live with the consequences. Take it on the chin. Win 13 games. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be in there next Saturday night, post-game show. Face, high camera. Keep the camera above your face. Makes it look like you got a jawline. All right. Thanks for hanging, everybody. Good little Friday night. Next post-game will be that Steeler game. We'll see what that looks like. We'll have a lot more to talk about before then. We got to figure out this Jake Moody situation. We got to figure out this roster next week. If you're here right now, hit that like button. Appreciate that very much. Man's working on a Friday night. So, subscribe to the channel. Help this thing grow. We got a big football season ahead. Hopefully a fruitful one for the content. And glad to have you all be a part of it. Talk special teams mentioned earlier. It looks like they have a potential a disaster on their hands. It's very bad. It's very bad. All right. Thanks for hanging, y'all. I'm out. See you on another chat. See you on another channel. It's been fun. Not another channel, I guess this channel. But yeah, hit that like button. All right. See you guys later. Have a good night. Have a good weekend.